Hi everyone, this is Haillie. I work with the Trempealeau County Land Management Department as the Conservation Engineering Specialist. And we are here today on Traverse Valley at one of the conservation practices that Trempealeau County will be helping cost share and overseeing some of the project design and construction. And with me is Rob, he's our contractor, and he's going to be showing us kind of what we're looking at and our giant bank behind us and how we're going to be fixing that and what it does for the streams and the improvement of the overall ecosystem.
So on this particular project we got a couple sites. One of them is right behind me, a big raw eroded bank, and what we're going to do is we're going to try to stabilize this. Right now we have a lot of soil that's lost every year on this bank, and actually we're going to measure how much soil we actually lose here in just a few minutes. But so one of the goals of this project is to stabilize the banks, stop the soil from going downstream. Also reduces phosphorus. Phosphorus adheres to soil particles. So if we can keep our soil in place, hopefully downstream we'll have cleaner water and not all the green, icky stuff that we see sometimes in the middle of summer. In addition to that, we're also going to do something for the fish here. Traverse Valley is a Class 1 brook trout stream, so we're going to do a little habitat, some things to manipulate the habitat to improve the fishery as well while we're here. So with that, we're going to jump across and just do some measurings, and we're going to actually figure out, crunch some numbers, and actually figure out how much soil in 1 year that we lose off of this bank. So we're going to treat 165 feet here by bank shaping and some riprap, and we're just going to crunch a few numbers and see how much soil we actually lose. So we're going to take a few measurements here on this bank. I'll get the tape to stay. Come on. Okay, so we're going to say on average bank height, it's going to be about 9 feet or 8 feet. Down there it's probably a little less, here it's a little more, but probably about 8 foot. Now I'm going to jump down and I'm going to measure these rods that have this orange flag on. So those rods have been in here a year, and when we placed them they were flush to the bank. So we've lost some bank now. You can see the rods are sticking out, you know, a little bit. All right, bear with me.
And the reason why we put those rods in is to see how far the bank is eroding, and that's our lateral recession rate. So that's what we use to determine the amount of soil loss throughout that banks, and we can use that in order to justify and give information on how much soil is lost throughout the bank, along with how much phosphorus is being lost into the streams. So we can take a soil test, see how much phosphorus is within the soil, and then we can see, as far as a practice, stabilizing that soil would then hold that phosphorus back, and then in turn leaving less in the water to get displaced into that water. So let's see what we're at for a lateral recession.
Okay, we got 9 inches on the top one. And actually here, I'm going to just go to here. Otherwise it might throw a... We've got about 10 inches there. And then we got one more down here at the bottom.
Oh, that one's hiding.
Actually, that one's almost about 11. So 11, 9, and 10, that's 30. 30 inches, okay. So, and we're going to treat 165 feet. So if we times that out, this is in cubic feet of sediment lost. So 165 times, let's see, 30, we got to change that to feet, so it'd be I believe 0.9 feet.
Yep, and then 8 feet.
And 8 feet high, so you come up with like a little over 1,000 probably, or what?
Yep, we're about at 1,100 cubic feet per year of soil lost from just this bank here, based on the measurements that we have taken today.
So that's cubic feet. So if you want to convert that, say, a lot of people don't know, you know, let's just say dump trucks. So if you change that to tons, 2,000 pounds, actually 1 cubic foot of soil is roughly about anywhere from 70 to 90 pounds, depending upon what type. We've kind of got a mix here of clay and soil, so let's just say about 80 pounds per cubic foot. So if you times that out and change it to tons, 1 ton is 2,000 pounds, divide that by the total, and we end up with, it's going to be roughly about 2 quad axle dump truck loads of dirt that are lost on this 165 feet. So roughly about 44 tons of dirt. A quad axle dump truck load, that's the big ones now, 4 tires on it, big dump truck load. And so about 2 of those is what we lose in 1 year. That's 1 calendar year. Now, and I mean, if you have a lot of floods, you may lose more. You know, really, we haven't had a lot of floods this year. It's been pretty dry. So just an idea of how much soil. I mean, I don't think most people, you know, we tend to see things that happen, you know, fast, but over the course of a longer period of time, we maybe don't realize what actually goes on. And I mean, that's not the only sediments entering the stream, don't get me wrong. If you can look around behind us, we've got row crops. And that's just the way things are in today's world. It's you know, corn or soybeans. There's very little alfalfa anymore. And you know, alfalfa and grass help hold the banks better. But I mean, you know, that's just the world we live in. It's row crops. So there's obviously, you know, erosion coming off the field too, but proportionately for this little distance, I would say that's a lot of dirt for 165 feet. And then you look at, you know, that's just one little area. Look at the whole stream. So what we want to try to do is make the banks, we're going to slope them and get them sodded and vegged up. So we've got a little buffer here. We did some work here in 2020 and 2019. So now we're back trying to finish it. So, but ideally, you have a nice vegetated buffer between the row crops and the stream, and it's a win-win for everybody. The farmer keeps his dirt, the recreationists downstream are happier because they don't have weeds on their boat propellers or their water skis, and the fish, it's better for the fish. So thank you for coming out, and we'll take a look as the project progresses.
Rob and Haillie did a great job of showing us the problems that we address in stream restoration. Now let us join Melinda Goplin and area high school students who spent a day both working and learning on Travis Valley Creek, and with them we can see how soil erosion and lack of habitat are addressed in a stream restoration project. One of the ways that we can judge the health of a stream is by doing an entomology study, a study of the insects that live in the stream. And insects vary in their tolerance to pollution. So depending on what type of insect that is predominant in the stream, we can get a good idea of the overall health of that stream in terms of its water chemistry. Trout streams in particular support cold water aquatic insects, and for them to thrive, you really need a healthy stream. Here the students are kicking some aquatic vegetation, and we're going to take a look at what comes out of it. So, a whopping beetle here. We got here Herman. Okay, now we're gonna look close. We got anybody up? Here's a scud. This is a freshwater shrimp. Whoa.
How big do those get?
They'll get a little bigger than this guy.
A cap, quarter-inch.
What else you see? Oh, that's another one.
A lot of things swimming around in there.
Yeah, there's all kinds of scuds. Freshwater shrimp zipping around. Here's a good size one. There's an even bigger one.
Nice.
Alright. I mean, you can just see
Yeah.
that the bottom is kind of crawling. So,
Oh,
but
there's
they're all.
some right there. What is that?
Is that a caddis? No, that's a shrimp too.
Oh, the black thing.
Might just been moving with the water.
No, not that.
Oh, go ahead and grab it because I can't
I
see what
can't
you're
see it
talking about.
anymore. Or right here.
Okay, go ahead and grab it. What this is this is a case for a caddis. Caddis, they make cases for themselves to live in. And I'll show you what those guys look like. Okay, so that's the middle of the pool.
I don't see he's in there yet.
I think it was. There's like a bug attached
Yep,
to it.
there's one in there.
Okay,
Yep.
there's one in the case. That's cool. And then there are like a zillion of these snails. The other thing that's interesting is I had mentioned a lot of times these tables are brown trout will scare the brook trout out of them. So the fact that we have brook trout habitating these tables and holding their own means that, you know, we know downstream in Traverse Valley Stream there's brown trout. But it seems like the brook trout are kind of holding this territory. And as our native fish, I think that's something we like to see, some areas where they can hold their own with the brown trout. So.
The other thing that we're very blessed with in this area, Buffalo and Trempealeau County, is we have a lot of spring flow. So when you go back down the valley, just look at all the little tributaries that come in, provide cold water. You've got one from Liga Valley. You've got Hunts Valley that comes in, and you know all these little feeders provide cold water to this. Plus, we aren't far from the headwaters. I mean, it heads at the the base of the hill up here. And actually, when you talked about raising fish, that's where one of the co-op programs was on the Brogger place. So, Traverse Valley is one of the better brook trout streams in our area. It is. It always has been. I mean, on the very lower end, sometimes you can get some thermal changes. That's why on the lower end, you might find more brown trout than you do brooks. Here is, I'm actually digging out a stump. Here with the excavator. We try to get rid of all the box elder and undesirable trees. And then we put habitat in. So these are actually root wads, we call them, that we hauled into the site because there weren't very many trees, desirable trees on this site. So what I'm going to do with those is put in. They've got about an 8 to 10 foot trunk on them, and then the root wad. The dirt is shaken off the roots, and I'm going to actually place those in the stream underwater for the fish to hide around. So they'll be anchored in place. They're not going anywheres. And here we place things like this with a big excavator. Here you can see how steep the bank is. I have the arm of the excavator fully extended and I can barely reach the bottom. So this is a before shot. A lot of severe erosion here taking place. This is a lunker structure. So some of our streams, it's like a pocket, okay? There's a top and a bottom. It's like a table with a pocket in between. I'm going to place this in the water, put rock over the top of it, and it'll be like an undercut artificial bank where the fish will actually hide under this or in that little pocket then. We use these on hard bottom streams. Most of our streams are soft bottom, but on Travers we do have a kind of a mix. There's some spots where it's gravelly and in a rocky bottom. So then we use this type of habitat for the fish. Most of the time we just build an underwater table where I actually jet piling into the bottom of the stream. But in this particular case, this was a better option. So this is called a lunker structure designed by the habitat crew out of La Crosse. Here I am placing, I think, it looks like a root wad, one of those root wads that I had on bed of the trailer, so we put that in, and then the fish have something to hide around. It's kind of like a tree that falls in the water, but we try to put it in so that it's stable and it's here 10, 15 years from now. We try to anchor it in place. Trees fall in the water all the time, but what happens is the water flows around them, and pretty soon the tree maybe floats downstream and changes position. We want to anchor them in place so that they continually provide stable habitat. So here's a shot of that lunker structure, that trout structure. I have a chain on it. Now it's in water. It's the thing that's nice about these is you can pre-build them. So now I'm going to put it into place next to the bank, and it'll be held in place temporarily with re-rod, just to kind of hold it until I can get rock on it. Then I'm going to put big heavy rocks on it, and it's not going anywhere. So the key is we have to make this stuff stand up to our high water events and flooding events. So when we get a 4-inch rain, you know how much water comes down some of these streams and how fast they rise during a flood. So we have to engineer things and put them in place so that they stay put during flood events. Just another shot here of the root wads. So we hauled in, I think I've got 6 or 8 on here. These are going to be placed for habitat. This is a finished product of what it looks like after we've sloped the banks and we get green up. This is a shot right after you can see the bank is sloped, and we've got rock, and then we put dirt over the top of the rock, and then we put down seed on that soil, and then we mulch it with hay or straw. So that's what you see here. You see the hay and the straw, you see a little bit of rock, and you can see the bank is at about a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 slope, where before it was straight up and down, and we were losing a lot of soil. This is a shot of a rock weir. Basically, it's just a little rock dam, provides some riffles. Usually directly below it, there will be a deeper pool. It also serves as an attachment area for aquatic invertebrates, like mayflies, caddisflies, things of that attach to a hard surface, and they actually are, food for fish that live in the stream. Here is sometimes we get very dry spells in the summer. So on this particular project, we were dry for about 3 weeks. So I actually set up my semi-trash pump here, and I'm actually just going to suck water out of the stream, and then we're going to water down the seed. A lot of the times we've got quite a bit of expense in seed and mulch, and in order to get this stuff to sprout and grow, we just have to give it a little sprinkle a few times, and once it gets going, then it's usually fine. So here we're looking at the fruits of our labor. You can see in the net here we've caught a few fish. These are brook trout, the native fish to Wisconsin. And Traverse Valley has a good good population of brook trout. So the fish look really healthy. Several different year classes. So I would say a class 2 stream, perhaps even a class 1 in some spots. Class 1 is natural reproduction, and it sustains itself. So that's the goal of all our streams and all our habitat work is we like our streams to, maintain themselves where we don't have to do any stocking. Basically trying to make a stable system so that we keep our soil in place, and we've put things in the water for habitat improvement for the fish. So it's kind of a win-win. Keep our soil in place for erosional purposes and improve the habitat and just overall create a stable environment that'll be here for hopefully many, many years and providing excellent fishing opportunities to anglers and other outdoor enthusiasts that want to use the property. There's an easement in place, so anyone can come and fish or walk this. The Bork family was generous enough to give that easement, and the partners have taken it a step farther now and done the improvements. Okay, so here's just an underwater shot of what it looks like under the stream. You can see the rocks and a little bit of vegetation, and We're hoping to see some fish, but it's a little cloudy out in the water today, so you can't really see fish. But you kind of get the idea of the rock, what they look like underwater, and what the fish see in the aquatic inverts.